I'm curious, throughout this whole process, what have people's reactions been when you're like, well, I'm working on a movie called Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
A lot of really?
Yeah.
Like, yep.
A lot of people laugh. A lot of people don't know how to take it.
And then do you find yourself like having to explain like the whole premise and everything?
Not really. I mean, you know, as soon as the trailer came out and people realized, oh, this is something different.
Yeah.
You guys aren't messing around. You know, I think people started to relax and see that we were, A, being respectful to Lincoln, and B, making a badass movie.
Yeah. I think a lot of people just expect a Mel Brooks movie. They expect it to be campy and weak and at the camera, and it couldn't be further from that.
Yeah. The movie takes itself very seriously, and yet, you know, it kind of has to with the premise.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to that? Were you glad that it was just so
No,
straightforward?
that was a deal breaker.
Yeah.
You know, we're not playing around. I mean, the joke's in the title. We get it. It's ridiculous, but that's it. That's the joke.
Yeah.
It's over.
I'm curious what kind of research you had to do in terms of Abraham Lincoln the man. Like, did you have to find out what his mannerisms were, how he spoke, that kind of thing?
Yeah, and there's a lot of things we kept and a lot of things we didn't, like how he spoke. We know that there are a lot of writings about his voice being high-pitched and almost shrill and aggravating, but my job, I mean, it's true, but most of the people that wrote that didn't like it, so
Right.
it's kind of hard to know. But also, I have to play him from 19 through his death, so it's important that not only do we make him real and true to who he was, but we also have to age him through the course of the movie. So we made some different choices, but we did a lot of research. There's 16,000 books written about Abraham Lincoln. You know, there's plenty to do.
Speaking of the aging process, you both have to wear some, you know, pretty intense old age makeup. Can you talk a little bit about what that process is like?
My process was great. I was in and out in 30 minutes. His process.
Different story.
Yeah, they didn't mess around. But you know, it was uncomfortable and unpleasant. But you know, Greg Canham and Will Huff created it, and it's absolutely brilliant. And all you got to do is look in the mirror to realize it was worth sitting there.
Yeah, we were recently on the USS Abraham Lincoln last week.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
week. It was 5 days ago.
Oof.
Showing the movie to the troops. And he was sitting in the captain's chair. And the captain came in and was like, oh, like, I mean, even in person.
President on deck.
Yeah, you're going to use that to your advantage now.
I know.
right?
It's like,
Everywhere you
basically,
go.
this is my boat, guys, and we're going home.
Where's the missile button?
You
There we go.
shouldn't have to buy a drink for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
I'm Abraham Lincoln. You know, the fantasy aspect aside, what kind of light is shed on Abraham Lincoln the man?
Well, I think as Americans, we kind of rob Lincoln of his humanity because we put him up on a pedestal. We admire him so much. We almost worship him. And when we do that, we remove the complexities of him. We remove what's really interesting and complicated about him. The idea that he was an ordinary guy who had humble beginnings, and that in spite of those horrible, humble beginnings and you know, the tragedy that befell him, he did extraordinary things. It's the ultimate superhero story right there in history.
Right.
All we got to do is make a movie about
You
it.
don't have to make it up. You don't have to put Tiberium in his chest and put him in an iron suit and let him be a playboy and fly around
Tiberium,
the
you know
world.
what that is?
Yeah. You know what that is? Tiberium? Yeah. Boom. It's a very rare energy source.
Yeah, you have to do some research into that.
Yeah,
I know.
check it
I
out.
gotta read. I gotta read a book.